Good evening and thank you for being with us. I'm Rob Caldwell.
And I'm Samantha York. Coming up tonight on 207, Boo Walker has a new novel out. And even though it's fiction, he did research for it by walking around and jotting down notes in a notebook. You'll find out why a little later.
And also ahead, we are in the kitchen with Chef Daron Goldstein from Provender Kitchen and Bar in Ellsworth. He's showing us how to make Italian Budino, a dessert similar to a custard. But first, the town of Paris gets its share of traffic year-round along Route 26, but there's a beautiful, quiet village in town preserved since the 1800s.
It's the birthplace of Hannibal Hamlin, who served as vice president under Abraham Lincoln. And David Guilford just visited Hamlin's annual birthday party where the cake was almost too good to eat. Hey, David.
Hey, guys, that's right. And it's probably the best cake you can get anywhere in Maine on a given day. And it matters to the bakers because they're there to find out whose is best.
You ready to pour?
I think.
Did you add more corn syrup?
Yeah, I think I still need to mix though.
Okay.
It's a busy day in the kitchen at the Foss House in Freeport.
Just pour slow.
Katie is offering guidance to daughter Evie, son Sawyer, and niece Isla as they put the finishing touches on their cakes. So are you all competing against each other?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Pink gloves, because you can never have too much pink.
Katie has some work of her own. She does this for a living.
For me, it was easy to go from just a basic frosting covered cake to doing something above and beyond, just because I love to create. I'm very artsy, I always have been.
The next day, they'll put their confections to the test, alongside some of the most talented bakers in Maine.
I thought I was doing good, and then I would hit a pothole. Like, oh no.
This is the 6th annual Maine State Cake Decorating Championship in Paris, with categories for juniors, amateurs, and professionals who make cakes a career. The competition theme is always birthday, in honor of Paris Hill's most famous resident, former Vice President Hannibal Hamlin, who served under Lincoln. The birthday theme leaves a lot up to interpretation.
We really kind of liked the fact that we get this broad spectrum of cakes, and they're all different and they're all beautiful in their own way, but yeah.
So creatively, they're just told, it's a birthday party.
It's a birthday cake.
Have fun with it.
Right, right.
So we get a spaceship.
And
we get
under the sea. we're all over the place with birthday cakes.
Dina Kreitzer made a fishing cake after one of Hamlin's favorite hobbies.
The clear part is just gelatin. You just have to set it up in separate layers because there's fish inside. You can't really see the fish very well.
Do you feel bad that this is going to be cut into pretty soon?
Oh yeah, I'm a little sad about that. But I did get pictures.
Once all the cakes are in place,
Oh, hand painted. Oh, very good.
the bakers are locked out and the judges get to work.
I'll get a little piece for you.
This art that took hours to make is torn apart in minutes.
I don't want to cut the turtle.
On the judges' clipboards, taste is the most heavily weighted criteria. But a lot goes into impressing them, who themselves are accomplished chefs.
I'm looking for a balance of flavors that complement the cake as well.
They wrote it on the card, this is my great-grandmother's recipe. Does that hit you in the heart at all, or you were like, no, don't give me that family stuff?
No.
I think it's forced manipulation.
Forced manipulation?
It's forced manipulation.
No, it doesn't. Because this is their cake.
Judge Kelly Pride is unflappable, and she suspects a professional used store-bought cake filling.
In my opinion, it's hard to tell if that's a made from scratch cake or a box cake based on the crumble. The frosting is excellent. It's light. It doesn't take away from the flavor of the cake, but we don't taste any flavor in the cake.
Controversy. Anyway, baking is almost another world from cooking. There's forgiveness in searing a steak. Here, too little baking powder or too much oil, and your entire creation falls flat.
This is as much arithmetic as it is art, in other words.
It's as much science as it is art, yes.
Yeah.
And chemistry.
Yeah.
You know what it is? It's a marshmallow Rice Krispie treat.
Wilfred Berrio is in the American Academy of Chefs Hall of Fame, a legend around these parts.
In the culinary experience, dessert is last. It's the afterthought. Did you save room? Would you like to see the dessert menu?
You know, when I sit down and eat, I always, when I'm finished, you know, the old adage, there's always room for Jell-O. I mean, almost everybody always has room for a bite of sweet.
Once the judges are done with their tasting and notes, the public is allowed inside.
What goes into a winning cake?
Definitely time and planning.
Amy Bork from Wells is the two-time defending professional champion. Make that three-time defending champion. She didn't even cheer.
You don't seem surprised at all.
I think that I can do a great job, but lots of people can do a great job. And I was actually very nervous this year.
Our Freeport baker, Katie Foss, finished third in the professional division after finishing second last year. The kids didn't place in juniors. A life lesson.
So it's always hard for a kid to take a loss, for sure. But they did great. They weren't upset or anything, and they're just going to try again next year. So
next year, revenge will be a dish best served with frosting. There were cash prizes for first, second, and third place winners of each category. The top professional took home $2,000. And it dawned on me, I asked a few of the professionals, and they admitted that for many of them, this is the only time they get to make a cake that is entirely their imagination. For their jobs, it's whatever the bride wants. It's whatever the birthday celebrator wants.
What will sell at the restaurant, what gets ordered off the menu.
This is all their creation.
I loved that cake with the fish where it was like you were looking down through the water. That was so creative. I love it.
However, your assertion that dessert is an afterthought, we're going to go have a long discussion after the show.
Not true for me.
Not true. Don't you go to a restaurant and often look at the dessert menu first? Am I the only one who does that?
You love your sweets, Rob. You love your sweets.
Still, excellent story. Thank you, David. You got it. Coming up next here on 207, Maine writer Boo Walker and his new book that took him far from home. Boo Walker is a writer who lives in Cape Elizabeth. He has just published his 17th novel. It's called The English Bookstore in Bologna, and he's with us here on 207. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
So happy to be here.
You really love to write, don't you?
I am addicted to writing. It kind of saves me, yes. I wouldn't know what to do without
it. And yet, you're pretty honest about it, and you say that with this book, as has happened with others, there were times when you really felt pretty bogged down as you were writing it, right?
Yeah, and I think as I've kind of done this for, over 20 years, I think you never reach a place as an author where it gets easy. That probably you don't want to reach that place or it gets boring. Instead, you reach a place where you just accept that the hard times are coming and you got to get through them. It's just kind of part of the process.
The name of the book, The English Bookstore in Bologna. So people are going to assume, okay, Bologna, Italy, probably. And they might think, okay, maybe Boo was living in Bologna, Italy when he was inspired to write this book. But that is not quite the case, right?
That's not quite the case. My wife and I and son moved to Valencia, Spain, chasing an expat lifestyle during COVID, and we lived there for about a year and a half. And we started meeting all these other expats, and I felt so at home despite being so far away because everybody was super similar in that we all had wanderlust. We all kind of were attracted to Europe in a big way, and we were all kind of running from something, maybe running to something, chasing something. And as we all hung out together, I just started to see these fictional characters kind of come out of it. And this story came to be in my head, set in Valencia. And I started to think, well, I need some kind of common spine to hold these characters together. And at the same time, I was desperate for an English bookstore and didn't have one, so I thought I'd create one.
And you created it in Bologna, Italy. How did that happen?
Well, I first saw it in Valencia, and I pitched it to my publisher along with a couple other stories, and they rejected it. And so I just put this idea on the shelf, and then the characters kind of just started knocking in my imagination again. They wouldn't go away. So fast forward to a couple years ago, And the whole idea came back to me. My wife and son were going for their Italian citizenship, and we started traveling out to Italy, and my wife's Italian, obviously. We eat a lot of Italian. And I thought, well, we should do it in Bologna and try this whole thing again. So I moved the setting, same characters, and it really came alive there. It was wonderful.
I would think that it is a real spur to creativity when you're writing a story that is set in a place that is so different.
Yeah, it sure is. And, you know, every kudos to my wife for allowing me to just hop on a plane without her and just go land in a place with a notepad and just walk around looking for stories. It's really the most fun in the entire world.
So that's what you do. Even though you're writing fiction and you can make up whatever you want, you literally walk around with a notepad and jot down notes?
Totally. I mean, I will take the freedom to make up spots if I want to, or make up streets, just so, you know, the Bolognese, they won't come after me, or people who travel to Bologna often. But I grab enough truth to add some verisimilitude to it.
The focus sort of the book is what goes on in the bookstore and all the expats who are part of that world. Does that reflect to some extent your own interests and your own background and your love of bookstores and expats as well?
Yes, totally. I mean, it captures my love of damaged characters, my love of being an expat and all that has to do with it, and of course my love of books, you know, that kind of comes with being an author.
You, as we said at the beginning, you really like to write. There's a photo on your website of you in a pool with a typewriter. Great shot. What's the story behind
Thank you.
that?
I know, that one's going to be hard to ever outdo. We move around a lot, and we used to live in St. Pete before Spain, St. Pete, Florida, and we lived next to a underwater wedding photographer. And I just, you know, I asked one day if we could do a shoot, and we found some old typewriters that we could just drop into the water, and I put on an old suit, and it was amazing. It was, you know, it was a lot of fun.
I assume that you still get constantly a lot of comments about that shot.
Always. I think about how am I going to ever do that, and I think the only way is to go find her and do another set of those.
Well, if you come up with a photo that's even more dramatic and more compelling than that one, you let us know stat.
I will. Thank you.
Boo Walker is the author of The English Bookstore in Bologna. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate you being here. If you would like more information on the book or the author, you'll find it in the 207 section of our new Cinemane app or website. And stay with us. We'll return right after this. We are back in the 207 Kitchen at Maine Studios. With us today, Daron Goldstein. He is the owner and chef of Provender Kitchen and Bar in Ellsworth. Great to have you with us. We're making dessert, my favorite part of the meal. What's on the menu?
Yeah, Rob, thanks for having me back here. We're going to make one of my favorite desserts and one of the most popular desserts we have at the restaurant right now, which is Italian Budino. Or kind of like an American custard, if you will.
All right, we'll talk some more, but let's get started. Where do we begin?
You got it. So first of all, we're going to cream our eggs and sugar. So it's about 5 egg yolks, half a cup of sugar. The recipe will be posted online, so if anybody wants to follow along.
Yeah.
You know.
So let me start. You can keep working here, but let me just ask you as we get going here, what is the definition of a budino? You said it's like a custard.
Yep. It's a little bit more eggier, a little richer than a American custard. Think about maybe like a Mexican flan, if you will. Really kind of close to that. You know, so, but we're going to elevate ours. We've got a special ingredient today. We're going to be using caramelized white chocolate once we get this eggs and sugar going.
All right, so that would actually take about a minute, but we're going to compress this for our purposes, so it's done after about a minute.
Right.
Next step is?
Yep, we preheated some heavy cream here, so we'll get it up to about 180 degrees, not a boil, but just a good simmer. We're going to add that back into our eggs and sugar mixture. And you know your eggs and sugar mixture will be done. It will be pale in color, double in size.
Okay.
Okay, we're just going to turn that down for one quick second, get that back going. And that's when we're going to go in with our special ingredient, the caramelized white chocolate. So earlier, we cooked this white chocolate, a quality white chocolate, at 250 degrees for about 30 minutes.
Okay.
And that will go right into our mixture as well. We're just going to let that mix just till it's blended in. All
right, here's a key question, Daron. For folks who don't have this kind of equipment in their home kitchen, what can they do to make this dish?
Yeah, you can definitely do this by hand with a whisk in a stainless steel bowl. Might take an extra couple minutes, but you can definitely get the same result, maybe 5 or 6 minutes.
That's how chefs did it before we had this stuff.
That's right. That's right. You know, everything was by hand.
They were making great food 150 years ago.
That's right. So once that's done, this is a real simple dessert. You know, so people can do it at home. If you had a dinner party or just wanted to make something nice at home.
It just takes a little time. There's nothing that's all that difficult about it, right?
That's it. You know, and once we're just about 3/4 of the way done here now, so we're going to bring that back up to a boil for a couple minutes, like maybe 1 or 2 minutes. And once that is kind of up to a boil, we're going to whisk that.
Okay.
You'll notice it will be done. Pass me that whisk, please. Thank you. This will be thick enough to coat to the back of a spoon. It will start to bubble a lot. Don't want to overcook it because you'll have some scrambled eggs here. So about 3 or 4 minutes is all you need.
But they'd probably be pretty sensational scrambled eggs.
They'd be fantastic. They'd be fantastic. So once our liquid here is at a boil, we have 3 more ingredients. We have some vanilla extract, a little bit of salt. Get out of there. There we go. And then about a tablespoon of butter for a little extra richness in here. You know, and then, so again, 3 or 4 minutes in here, comes to a boil. We pour it back into our little ramekins, 2 or 3 hours in the fridge, and then we ended up with this right here.
All right, you need to slide over there.
Yep, so you see our custard is all set, it's firm. And then at the restaurant, we garnish with whipped cream. Okay, you can, little salted caramel.
Oh, that looks elegant.
Which they also can sell in stores as well, if it will come out of the bottle. Okay, there we go. And maybe a little dash of cinnamon. And there we go, Italian Budino.
As Daron said, it's one of the favorite desserts at Provender Kitchen and Bar. The recipe is, of course, on our website and app. Head to the 207 section. NewsCenterMaine.com is the place to go, and that's where you'll find the recipe and more information on Provender. Thanks so much, Daron. Great to have you here. Stick around. Back with more right after this.
Coming up tomorrow on 207, a few years ago, Virginia Schaefer had an excellent job with a company in Boston, a position that involved technology and travel.
But what she was really interested in was oysters. There wasn't much that she liked better than going to bars and restaurants that served oysters and learning as much as she could about them.
I was keeping a tally and a track of all the oysters I had tried. And after a while, I just thought, you know what? I don't know anything about this animal, but I love to eat it. I'm just going to randomly cold call an oyster farmer. And that's what I did.
Now, Virginia Schaefer lives in Maine, and she is making a living from oysters. We're going to share her story tomorrow on 207.
And by the way, if you ever miss any of our stories on 207, you can catch all of our recent episodes at any time on our News Center Maine streaming app.
You can download it for free and stream on your TV. It is available free, as we said, and it's on Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV. Do you like oysters, Sam? I forget, we've talked about this before, but no. No, that's fine, that's fine.
I don't. And it's the texture, Rob. It's the texture. You like them, though.
I love oysters. I did not used to. It took me a long time. I didn't really like them until I was in my mid-30s. So it was really only a few years ago I started to like them.
Obviously, yes. So I just started liking them anytime. Have a good night. Thanks for being with us.